The only reason I can still do that is because I still stretch every day. Welcome to Thrive Fitness in Ann Arbor for your next instructional video on stretching. My name is Amir. Before you start any exercise program, whether it's strength training or cardio-based, you're always going to need a proper mobility regimen to start first. When a muscle group is tight or stiff, typically what happens is the opposing muscle group gets underused or it's weaker in comparison, causing muscular imbalances. When a muscular imbalance occurs, it means that one side of the body is working harder or being overused, aka stiffness, compared to the opposing side of the body, which is being underused or is weaker in comparison. For example, some people when they squat, their knees pinch in. This is a common imbalance you're going to see where the VMOs, the inner thighs are weak, and the outer IT bands and glute medius is tight. So we can fix that through stretching and strength training and correct that muscular imbalance along with many others that we're going to show you today. In order to eliminate muscular imbalances in the body, you're going to need to stretch the muscle groups that are tight or stiff and activate those muscle fibers that have been dormant and haven't been used in a while you start strengthening the muscle groups in the body that have been underused or are weaker. And that's what we call corrective exercise. When you do an exercise correctly, it requires full muscle activation and great mobility. So today we're going to show you how to do various stretches properly for your major muscle groups for all fitness levels so that you can get the most effective workout for your fitness goals while preventing injuries, improving your posture, and improving your daily performance. Our motto at Thrive goes, getting older doesn't make you stiff. Getting stiffer makes you old. So make sure that you stretch every single day to avoid aging, to feel great, and to live a longer and healthier lifestyle. I'm not saying that you need to take a yoga class every day, although it is beneficial. But what I am saying is that stretching is extremely important, so try and make it a part of your daily routine. The stretches we're showing you today are called static stretches, where I'd want you to hold each stretch for 1 minute each, and we'll do a separate video on dynamic stretching as well. Personally, I like to do a stretch first thing every morning, along with drinking 2 cups of water. It boosts my endorphins to start my day. It alleviates any muscle stiffness I have when I roll out of bed to start my day off right. But it's your choice. You can stretch whenever you want throughout the day. Just make sure you get it done. The first stretch we're going to show you is your quad stretch. Notice how I'm sitting on my feet flat on the ground, knees shoulder width apart. And when I go down, I want to try to get both hands behind me. If you're not able to get both hands behind you, start with one hand on the floor first, while one hand reaches for the ceiling. And the goal is to squeeze your butt off of your feet as high as you can to start stretching your quads. If you can get one hand to the floor, do the other side as well. And then you can progress to both hands on the floor, squeezing your butt off of your heels as high as you can. If you're an advanced stretcher and your mobility is very good in your quads and your knees, then I can have you go down to your head and elbows very slowly. Try to do the same thing by getting your butt off of your heels without arching your lower back. Another quad stretch variation is grabbing onto a wall or grabbing something, lifting your knees so that you're able to grab your ankle, and then pulling your foot back, squeezing your butt forward, keeping your foot flexed down. Try not to yank on your foot as it might cause strain in the knees. Always try to grab your ankle, squeeze your butt forward, stand up nice and tall with good posture. And the third variation, if you experience a lot of stiffness and you're unable to reach back to touch the ground or reach back to grab your ankle, you can sit on a bench, lean back slowly and sit on your ankle while your foot's flat on the bench. If this is easy, you can always progress to reaching behind you again with one hand and the other hand to enhance the quad stretch. The next stretch we're going to show you is called a pigeon pose to stretch the glutes. Now this stretch, what want to make sure your knee's safe. See how my foot's kind of relaxed and pointing out? I always want to make sure my foot's flexed up towards my knee. And then try to hook your hand behind your heel before you start the stretch to keep your knee safe and make sure your foot isn't sagging down. Then you're going to square your body up, kick your opposite leg straight back. And then you're going to try to bend your chest forward while keeping your hand hooked on that heel. Once your glute loosens up, you can let go of the heel, reach both hands forward, try to duck your head and chest towards the floor. Another glute stretch variation, if you develop knee problems while doing the pigeon pose or stretch, is to lie on your back, keep one leg at about a 90-degree angle against the wall or a bench as you lift your hips up and hook your other leg so that your ankle sits right in front of your knee. Your foot is always flexed up still. And since glutes are involved with external rotation of the hips, you want to try to push your knee away from your chest and rotate the leg until you can see a parallel angle with your knee and your ankle. As you loosen up into this stretch, you can always take your foot off of the wall and enhance the stretch even more by pulling your leg towards your chest with your free leg. The next stretch we're going to go over is for your lower back, called a spine twist. As you lay on your back, you're going to notice one leg is going to stay straight on the ground while you swing one leg on the other side of your body, hooking your foot or ankle onto your free leg that's straight on the ground. Hand that's closest to the knee is going to pull down on your knee, pull it towards the floor as you let your opposite hand, shoulder, and chest roll down towards the floor. As with any stretch, make sure you breathe through the stretch to help your muscles relax and to allow them to loosen up even faster. Another lower back stretch that you can do safely is laying on your back and hugging your knees towards your chest. Try to wrap your hands together or apart, grabbing your knees and hugging them towards your chest as you relax your head and shoulders on the floor, rocking forward and back slightly. The next progression to hugging your knees towards your chest to stretch your lower back out. If you have a very limber spine, cervical spine around your neck, this is a nice advanced stretch for your lower back, especially targeting those lower back muscles towards the sacrum. Then you can rock forward and back nice and slow to roll out your back muscles. Give yourself a little mini massage. Last but not least, for your lower back, if you develop a lot of lower back stiffness, especially for those of you who sit behind a desk all day and the back side of your body doesn't get used enough, foam rolling is a great tool for your lower back, upper back stretching. When you set the foam roller down, try to lay on it so that your shoulder blades rest on the foam roller first. Hands behind the head to support the neck, but not pulling on the neck. And then you're going to try to do hyperextensions where you drop the head down, crunch up by pulling through with your abdominal muscles, and then back down slowly. Do 2 to 3 reps per spot as you slowly roll down. And if you feel a spot that is very stiff, you're going to want to hold the extension just a little bit longer to dig out those knots and relax your muscles and loosen them up. even faster. Once you reach the middle part of your back, we're going to repeat the opposite steps with your shoulders and head on the ground. And doing some hyperextensions with your hips. Dropping your hips down towards the floor and squeezing your butt back up. Hips down towards the floor and squeeze your glutes back up and bridge. And we're going to do that all the way down your lower back until we get to the sacrum. And then we roll the knees side to side nice and slow. Until your lower back feels loose. Hamstring stretch for the back of the legs. I like to try to stretch your muscle fibers out unilaterally or one side at a time if we can. So for the hamstrings, we're gonna have you sit on the bench or even on the edge of your bed. Keep one leg straight along the bench and keep your other leg straight with your knee soft locked on the bench with your foot pointing towards you. And the goal is to grab your foot, pull your toes towards you as you duck your head and chest down towards your knee to enhance the stretch. Now some of you might not be able to grab your toes right away and your flexibility only allows you to go this far maybe. So we can add in a band or even a towel to help you enhance the stretch. Stretching it out, wrapping it around the bottom of your foot so that helps pull your toes towards you, and then you're gonna climb that band like a rope, hand over hand, until you enhance the stretch. And over the course of a minute, you can try to improve and go a little farther out until you're able to grab your toes, then you can ditch the band. If your back rounds too much on the hamstring stretch sitting down, then try it lying on your back. While bending one leg up, hooking the band around your foot, and then pulling your leg towards you with the band. Again, try to climb the rope, hand over hand, and pull that foot towards your chest while laying your back flat to the ground to just isolate the hamstrings and some of the calves. And then your last hamstring stretch variation, we're gonna do standing, feet shoulder width apart. You're gonna try to hinge your hips back, stick your butt out as far as you can as you bend forward and reach for your toes or the floor. In order to get the IT bands stretched out more, you want to try to angle your hips to one side, twist your upper body, and reach both hands to the side of one foot. As that side loosens up, make sure you switch and get the other side. Target the IT bands. And then you can go back down in the middle and try to get a little deeper with the hamstring stretch here. Next, we're going to stretch your calves. So I'm going to have you tripod up with your hands and feet. We're going to focus on keeping your butt up in the air as high as you can while putting one foot on the floor on your toes, on the balls of your feet, while forcing your heel to the floor. And you're going to spot yourself with your free foot and try to push that heel down towards the floor to stretch your calves out. And then we're going to work our way down to the Achilles tendon by bending your knee down towards the floor, the side that we're stretching. Still keeping your butt in the air and hooking your free foot on top of your heel to stretch or the Achilles tendon back here. Another calf stretch variation we can do without getting on all fours in the tripod is stretching your calf on a staircase or a step by allowing one foot to balance on the step. Feel free to hang onto a wall and allowing your heel to drop, using your back foot to help enhance the stretch by hooking your foot down on your heel, letting that calf stretch out. Again, you want to target more of the lower part of your Achilles tendon. Bend the knee forward on the side that's stretching with the foot that's on the step, and still try to drop your heel down towards the floor as you hold it. The next stretch is for your hip flexors, along with tight hamstrings. Tight hip flexors or a psoas, which is a big long muscle that runs all the way up underneath your abdominal muscles that causes a lot of lower back stiffness. This is a great stretch for you to start loosening up your hip flexor muscles, your hip muscles, and to help activate your glutes more and alleviate a lot of your lower back stress. So you're going to try to get into a position that's very similar to a lunge position. Getting on your back foot's toes, one knee down, and then taking a big step forward with your free leg. The reason we're on the back foot's toes is so you can drive off your toes to help you squeeze your butt forward. Put both hands behind your butt, push your butt forward as you squeeze your butt forward, and keep your chest up so you maintain good posture. You notice the front leg, just like a lunge. If I notice my knees going forward past my ankle too far, take a little bit bigger step with your front leg so that when I do push my hips forward, my knee is sitting directly over my ankle at the end of the stretch. Now this stretch I'm going to show you in 3 different variations. The first variation is keeping both hands behind your butt. Variation number 2 is to reach your hands straight towards the ceiling, the same arm as the leg that's down, to stretch out your abdominal muscles and really stretch the top of the psoas or hip flexor muscles at the top. And lastly, the same arm that you reach for the ceiling with, now you hook it across your leg that's up. That's going to allow you to rotate your upper body and stretch the psoas out at a different angle. Everything else is the same, still squeezing my butt forward. And the same hand that's free, I want to put it right behind my right glute to push my right glute forward to enhance the hip flexor stretch even more so I can hit the hip flexors at a different angle. Next, the cobra stretch is for your abdominal muscles. Sometimes when you perform abdominal exercises, you notice that your abs tend to get really tight or cramp up on you. That's because your ab muscles are tight. So the cobra stretch is a great way to stretch your abs out. Start with your hands a little bit in front of your chest, keeping your butt relaxed and slowly pushing your chest off the ground. So we stretch the abs while keeping the glutes relaxed. If you don't feel a deep enough stretch, every time you come down a bit more until you can feel that same stretch with your glutes relaxed, but a deeper stretch in your abs. Hold the stretch at the top once you find your ideal hand position and focus on breathing to let your ab muscles relax. Next, we move on into a groin stretch or inner thigh stretch. Very similar to a side lunge position. We're going to take a big wide step out. We're going to lean all of our weight to one side as I shift my weight to my toes, while the other foot stays nice and flat on the ground with my knees straight, not locked, but straight. And enhance that inner thigh VMO and groin stretch. If you want to enhance your inner thigh or VMO stretch, groin stretch, you can set your foot up on a step or a bench and continuously rise it slowly every week so you can enhance that stretch and range of motion by still putting my weight on one leg, leaning my body weight towards that side, leaning on my thigh, or if I'm flexible enough, reaching my hands to the floor to enhance that inner thigh and groin stretch. And then hold it when you feel it. Next, we move on to the upper body for traps. Those of you who experience a stiff neck, or you notice that your head slouches throughout the day from sitting at a desk or computer all day, chances are you have tight trap muscles. So in order to stretch your traps, we're going to need a band or a towel. We're going to throw one side of it behind the body, one side of it in front of the body, reaching behind to grab the band, reaching in front to grab the band. Pull your shoulder down and back, and then you're going to pull hard down on the band until your head away from that band. Once we feel the stretch, hold it. Make sure your shoulder stays down and back the entire time. And for those of you who experience poor posture, tight shoulders or rounded shoulders, from slouching or sitting at a desk all day, I'm going to show you a few stretches for your pecs and shoulders to help open up the chest and pull your shoulders back. The first one you can do against the doorway by putting your hands about parallel with your chest, maybe right below, and then taking a few steps forward until you can open up your chest as big as you can with your head neutral and your hips forward, and hold it when you feel it. To enhance the stretch, you can bend your elbows slightly as you stick your chest out and keep your head neutral and forward. You can also do this stretch one side at a time, whether it's against that doorway or against the wall, by setting your hand against the wall, feet facing opposite direction, and twisting your body away from your hand to open up your pecs even more and the front of your shoulders even more. Always make sure your shoulder sits down and back as you do your pec stretch. Another doorway stretch to stretch your lats out and open up the lats is to reach for the top of the doorway and walk your feet forward and away from that door until you can get your elbows straight and behind your ears with your head being neutral. You can enhance that stretch by grabbing one wrist, bending that elbow over your head, and tilting your body to one side. One of my personal favorites, you can do this anywhere on your kitchen counter. You can grab a bar behind you. You can do it against your bed. Grab the bar with your hands just outside of shoulder width apart. If you're using a bench, have a seat on the bench. If not, just squat and bend your knees until you can scoot your hips forward just enough to pull your shoulders down and back. Keep your head up and keep your chest open. If it hurts your elbows, slightly bend your elbows to alleviate that elbow stiffness and pain so that the focus goes right back to the front of your shoulders and your pecs. Make sure you maintain good posture on this stretch with your head forward and neutral, not slouching. Thanks for watching our stretching video today. If you learned something and you liked our video, make sure you subscribe to our page and share it with your friends.